Welcome to the Delmarva Almanac. Each week we connect you to the best of Delmarva. I'm your host, Dana Kester McCabe. There are very few first source materials about the pre-European tribes who lived along Delmarva's coast and were known as the Ascetics. Not many artifacts remain to help us really understand their culture. The people have found their arrowheads in this region ever since they were lost to us as a tribe. Much of what we know about them is based on a few early accounts from explorers like Giovanni di Verrazzano and Captain John Smith. The most complete account comes from Henry Norwood, who was stranded on our beaches in 1649. His story tells us a little bit about their culture, but not very much, as most of his communication with them was done through rudimentary hand signals. What we do know is that the Ascetic people lived mostly inland near the coastal bays and only traveled to the barrier island to hunt and fish. And eventually they were forced to leave our area and join tribes further north. In the late 20th century, an immigrant artist built the most lasting tribute to native peoples of this area in two of Delmarva's beach towns. In 1976, Peter Toth carved a large statue in Ocean City and one in Bethany Beach as part of a series of statues called the Trail of Whispering Giants. The Ocean City statue, number 21 in the series, is called Nanticoke, paying tribute to the Nanticoke tribe who the Ascetics eventually joined up with in the oak orchard area of Delaware. The statue was carved from a 100-year-old oak. Completed in September of that year, it stands 20 feet tall at the southern end of Philadelphia Avenue, facing west across the waters of the Ocean City Harbor. I've heard some folks question why the statue does not face in a direction that makes it easier for people to see. Some speculate that perhaps the artist was making a statement about the Indian looking wistfully back on their lost homeland across the inland bay. When you make the turn, driving from Philadelphia Avenue toward the inlet parking lot, you come face to face with the noble gaze of a native man wearing a single feather in his headband. If you take the time to walk out to it along the observation path, you can see it up close. The visionary artist who created the statue, Peter Wolf Toth, was born in Hungary. He and his family escaped the Soviet takeover of his homeland in 1956 when he was just a small child. They came to the United States after 2 years of living as refugees in Europe. Peter grew up in Ohio and began his career as an artist after some courses at the University of Akron. He followed in the footsteps of his father, who was also an artist. Peter had developed a fascination for the native peoples of America, in part because he identified with their experience of invasion and forced migration, which was so close to his own. In 1972, at the age of only 24, he carved his first tribute to them. It was a large face carved from a cliff in La Jolla, California. His next Indian head was carved from wood. These two pieces inspired him to create similar sculptures in all 50 U.S. states. He became an itinerant artist, traveling from state to state to carve and donate his tributes to indigenous people to their local communities. That's right, donate. He does not ask to be paid for these works of art. Some admirers have donated free lodging and supplies for his efforts, but Peter sees this work as a calling to honor the country that gave his family a permanent refuge from war and poverty, and to displaced indigenous people everywhere. Further north in Bethany Beach is number 22 in the series, which Peter Toth completed in December of 1976. It was carved from a 25-foot poplar log donated by Jones Lumber of Snow Hill, Maryland. It faces west at the intersection of Route 1 and Garfield Parkway. The Bethany Beach sculpture is done more in the tradition of a totem pole, with an eagle or hawk as the Indian's headdress. And it is a tribute to a specific person, Nanticoke Chief Little Owl. This statue did not hold up as well as its counterpart further down the peninsula. Damage from termites and high winds forced the town to take it down and donate what was left of it to the Nanticoke Indian Museum in Oak Orchard in 1992. A local artist named Dennis Beach created a replacement out of white oak, which unfortunately also succumbed to the harsh environmental conditions. In 2002, Peter Toth was asked to create another statue. He returned to Delaware bringing number 69, a new 24-foot version made from Pacific red cedar, in hopes of it lasting a very long time. At the new sculpture's dedication ceremony, a descendant of the statue's namesake, Charlie Little Owl Clark, performed a traditional Nanticoke tribal blessing. Peter Toth's Trail of Whispering Giants now has sculptures in all 50 states and 15 in Canada. He has written a book about his life's work called Indian Giver. He lives in Florida, where he creates smaller sculptures to raise money for the upkeep and creation of new statues for his series, which includes indigenous peoples in countries around the world. In 2006, Peter Toth came back to Ocean City to do some restoration work on number 21, which has for the most part endured decades of storms and summer heat. In 2013, after Superstorm Sandy, the town of Ocean City found that additional restoration work would be needed to repair a split in the wood. This remains an unresolved concern. The Ascetics may be gone, their identity melted into that of the Nanticoke tribe. But Nanticokes are very much alive and well. Their tribe has an active association which advocates for the rights and welfare of their members. They hold an annual powwow celebration with traditional dances every September. And they have a lovely museum on Route 24 in Oak Orchard, Delaware, which is open year-round, showcasing regional artifacts dating back to 8000 BC, educational heritage displays, and contemporary locally produced crafts. If you'd like to find out more about this topic, visit this story on our website, delmarvaalmanac.com/history. Well, that's all for this edition of the Delmarva Almanac. Be sure to follow us on Facebook or Twitter, and next week join us to learn more about our local culture and get connected to our natural wonders. We'd like to thank our community partners, the Friends of Delmarva Public Radio, and our underwriters for their help in bringing this program to you, our audience. If you'd like to become an underwriter for this program, visit delmarvaalmanac.com/support. Our theme music was provided by Brightside Studio. This show has been a Moonshell production. Thanks for listening. Until we meet again, may the rhythms and tides of Delmarva bring you good fortune.